Hello, my name is Jorge de Leon, and this is my speech for my audience. Why you should switch from a traditional router to a mesh Wi-Fi system? Raise your hand if you have experienced slow internet in the past. I know, we all have. Slow internet causes missed opportunity. So a missed opportunity can be not being able to stream a Zoom call, or not watching your favorite show, or not being able to play a video game. And this is a problem because the internet in this era is essential. It's just like having a utility bill, like electric or water. It's not as convenient as it was in the past. The consequences of having a bad internet, it's a spotty signal, dead spots, or dropped signals. So those are some of the consequences that we have. I have done over 40 hours of research and implementing a system at the church that I go to solve this issue. So one of the inability for a single router to deliver reliable internet is the main cause of this poor connectivity. It prevents the use of tools, and it also blocks the adoption of the Internet of Things. And that's basically devices that stay connected to the internet all the time, and they're sending and receiving information. So some of those, it could be like security cameras or sensors for the windows or thermostats. There's a many different items that can connect to the internet like that. And having a weak Wi-Fi is a poor investment because relying on a single router is limited by the only access point that you have to connect to the internet. Ross described this in his book in 2009. There's also a higher cost in frustration when you have slow internet, and that's also a cause of added expenses. So when you have slow internet and it's crucial that you have something working with the internet, then you end up buying costly solutions like a Wi-Fi extender or a mobile hotspot, which are expensive. It's a problem because the demand for the internet bandwidth is increasing. At the church that I go to, the building has 15,000 square feet, and many devices are connected to the internet or could be connected to the internet. Each device adds to the internet load. As this connectivity widens, it's important not to have outdated equipment or equipment that is behind or struggling with today's needs. A modern Wi-Fi solution is the best way to invest for the future to keep up with technology. The system that I'm using is called a mesh Wi-Fi, and it's called this way because it has many access points that connect to the internet. And the main important thing is that these access points do not change the name of your network. So one password for the whole building, and you can see it here. When you enter the church, when you enter the church through here and you connect to the internet somewhere around here, you can walk around all the building and it's going to be the same internet, even though you're in different areas. And that's the beauty of having different access points that you stay connected. When you go through different areas, you can connect the different access points with a wire, an Ethernet cable, and that is called a wire backhaul. And this is used mainly to bypass the two weaknesses of a router, which is the distance and also the physical obstruction, like walls and ceilings and physical objects. And Palmer described this in his book in 2005. So I can show you here. In this picture, the orange lines, that's the Ethernet cables going from one section to another section. So like in this example, the internet speed here, where the modem is the same as here, where this cable is. Even though the distance is far, the same speed is here. And that's done because it's going through this cable. And that is an example of a wired backhaul. These systems are easy to manage, easy to troubleshoot, and easy to access. So that's the beauty of it, because it's done through a phone app. And with the phone app, then you can add or remove devices and pinpoint what is the device that is causing an issue. And that way your network doesn't fall through. And more than likely, it might be healed by the other devices until you get a permanent solution. And this is described in Lopez and Jackson in a research paper in 2025. So let's put it all together. Imagine every room that with good internet service, like the youth sanctuary is doing their live stream on Facebook. The fellowship is doing a conference using the TV connected to the internet. The secretary is doing her administrative work, and the podcast is doing a interview stream. Or picture a more secure building with cameras receiving and sending information, thermostat controlling the temperature of the building at the times that the temperature to be controlled is needed, and light sensors to turn on and off as the need happens through an app. So these systems, they work better, and they help us serve our members online and on-site, and that is the beauty of it. So the benefits of having seamless, secure, and scalable internet are clear, and implementing this system is easier than you might think. I urge you to become an advocate, to have consistent internet. And next time you have an issue, don't get frustrated, but see an opportunity. And this is one more example of how a system might look, where everything's connected from the internet to the switch to another access point that sends signals wireless through these areas, or through these areas, or through these areas. And that's how this system stays connected to the internet. So next time you have an issue, you can take 2 steps to solve it. First, walk around the building and see what areas have low signal. And once you do that, start a conversation with a decision maker, like a pastor of the church, or a business owner, or a manager, and tell them about the mesh Wi-Fi. The future of our community is connected. Let's make sure our infrastructure is ready to support it. Let's build a network that is as powerful as our purpose. Do you have any questions?
How much is the cost?
Okay, that's a great question. For this system, which was part of this class, I wanted to stay within a $300 budget. And that was to get the wires, buy the access point and the router, and also the tools that was needed to do the system. This way, I bought secondhand Wi-Fi mesh devices. They're a little older, but for the purpose of this demonstration, they work great. So if you go and you buy the latest system, you might not necessarily get the fastest return of your investment, because many devices cannot connect to the fastest internet, which is, I think, Wi-Fi 7. And at this date, only the newest iPhones can connect to that internet. So I suggest that when you go, either you buy secondhand or you buy some of the more budget-friendly technologies for this Wi-Fi mesh, until more devices can connect to the faster internet, which is the Wi-Fi 7. It is supposed to last for a few years before they do an upgrade. Any other questions?
Yes. How many access points can you have?
Oh, great question. So the access points, if you do the wired backhaul, there's no amount of access points that you can have. because they're not relying on the internet, on the wireless internet to send and receive signals. Now, if you are using the wireless backhaul, then I would suggest no more than 5 devices. And the reason is that if you have the one that's connected to the cable internet, to the Ethernet cable, and you send signal, and let's say that your signal is at 100, when the one that's wireless receives that signal and sends the signal back, is gonna be at half. So if you send it at 100, that router receives when that access point receives the signal, it's gonna send it back at half the distance, and that's because it takes half to send it and half to return it. And let's say that another access point connect to that second access point wirelessly, well then the third one, in this case, is gonna send at the half speed of the second one. So if you send it at 100 and then the first one receive at 50, well the following one is gonna receive at 25. So that's why it's not recommended to connect them wirelessly like that. But if that's the only option, then that's what you have to work with. But if preferably you want to do a wire backhaul, unless is the distance, like you have a garage or a barn and you want to have access there, well then you know that you're sacrificing the speed to have the connectivity in that area. Thank you.